All right. Move number 3 is increase your closing percentage. Okay, let me ask you a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself and tell me, who here thinks that selling is bad? Does anyone here think that selling is bad?
No.
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 Okay,
They
awesome.
tell us that in law school.
They what?
They tell us that in law school.
They tell you
Law
selling is
school is
bad.
wrong.
Selling is bad.
Okay,
Law school gives malpractice life advice.
all right, that's awesome. So here's the thing, right? You know, who here has heard the line, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold to? Who here has heard that line? Have you guys heard that line before?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that line is completely wrong. That line is completely wrong. The truth is, people love to buy and people love to be sold to. What people hate is a crappy sales experience, right? Think about who here has an iPhone. Does anyone have an iPhone? I've got my iPhone right here, right?
Yes.
Do you guys remember the first time that you got an iPhone? Do you remember how, or the first time you saw an iPhone? Do you remember how exciting it was to get an iPhone the first time? Do you guys remember that? Anyone? Like,
Yes.
I stood in line for 5 hours at the Florida Mall for an iPhone 3G like 11 years ago. and I didn't even know that I didn't even know that I was going to be able to get one. It was basically, they're like, stand in line and, you know, hey, if you get one, you get one. Right. But it was such a great experience that it didn't feel like a sales experience because it was a good sales experience. People hate bad sales experiences. They love to buy and they love to be sold. Right. So the reason that bad sales experiences happen is because when someone is trying to convince you to buy, right? You have to remember, selling is a process. It's not an event, right? When someone walks into your office for a consultation, that's the last place that you should be selling. Where you should be selling is when you're creating all this value and creating all these videos and getting people to know, like, and trust you. And the beginning of your sales pitch should be when they click play on that first video that they ever see of you. And you say, hey, my name is attorney Mike Smith, and I'm going to teach you how to make sure that your kids stay safe when they're coming home from school, you know, or whatever the topic is, right? That is the beginning of your sales pitch. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to know, like, and trust you and want to work with you before they ever step foot in your office, before they ever even call you. That's the beginning of your sales pitch. And so many people don't realize that. And when you do that, it's going to be a great sales process, right? And that's why it's so important that you put all these videos out so that people see you over and over and over again. And it makes life so much easier because you don't have to worry about being salesy and you don't have to worry about all that type of stuff, right? Now, let me ask you a question. There's one reason that people do anything at all in life, right? Does anyone know, shout it out if you know it, does anyone know the one reason that people do anything? It's only one reason. Does anybody know?
But they feel like it.
Who said that? Is that yeah, all right, you nailed it. Because they feel like it. That's the only reason people do anything. If they buy from you, if they don't buy from you, it's simply because they feel like it, right? So your goal is not to persuade anyone. It's not to convince anyone. It's just to make people feel like hiring you. That's it, right? And think about this. Like, people buy things from people that they know, they like, and they trust. So think about the last time you were, I don't know if anybody works in an office anymore, but let's think about the last time a coworker or a family member was like, hey, my son or my daughter is selling Girl Scout cookies, right? And you really didn't want Girl Scout cookies, but you still bought it just because of the fact that you like the person and you have a relationship with the person and you respect the person. So you bought the thing just to help their kid out, right? So that's the whole point. Now compare that to when you're leaving the grocery store. I know at Publix, they have Girl Scout troops outside of Publix all the time. And I typically don't buy anything from them because the problem is I'll eat all the Girl Scout cookies in like one sitting, and then that's just not good for anybody. However, I will still buy Girl Scout cookies from friends and family because it's people that I know and I like and I trust. So that's the biggest thing. Now, the other thing about video is that you can increase the sales process by pre-framing objections that people have. And we're going to talk about how to come up with video topics here in a few minutes. And objections is a big part of that. But when people come into your office and you start noticing the different reasons why they don't hire you. So for example, maybe you're a business attorney and or an intellectual property attorney, and maybe people are not hiring you, or they come with this false belief that they can go to LegalZoom and for $150 they can get their LLC set up and they don't need an attorney, right? So what you can do beforehand, before they even come in, is you can create content that discusses why it's a terrible idea and why using LegalZoom will actually cost you 3 times as much money as it will as it costs to hire an attorney. That way, when they come in the office, they're already warm and that objection has already been handled. So that's why it's important to put value out there. And that's also a great example of how the buying process does not start when they walk in, or the selling process does not start when they walk through the door. The selling process starts when they're watching your videos and they're getting warm to they're getting warm to you, right? The other thing is that a lot of times people have this, and I talk to lawyers all the time and they say, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be salesy. And they've kind of bought into the lie that the government has portrayed and the media has portrayed, is that when you're doing something, when you're selling something to someone, that you're doing something bad to them. And that is not the case. Selling is serving. Let me ask you a question. Come on here. Somebody shout out, has anyone gotten a great result for a client recently? Let me know like a great result that you've gotten for a client recently.
Registered a trademark.
Okay, you registered them a trademark. And what did that trademark allow them to do? It allowed them to protect their property?
To protect their brand so that they can actually scale without fear of somebody else stealing it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. As a result of you registering their trademark and doing it properly to make sure that it doesn't get rejected and that now they own that intellectual property so that they can go make more money, is that client better off as a result of you having sold your legal services to them?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So you served those people, right? Selling is serving. Who else has had a really great result recently?
I helped somebody get their child back, their children back.
Okay, you help someone get their children back, right? That's like a priceless thing. So let me ask you this. Now that that child is reunited with their family, is that family better off now that you have helped them?
Yes.
Okay. So you served them. They're better off now that you sold their legal service. You sold your legal service to them. So that family is better off. I love what Jay Abraham says. He says, if you have something that is good and that helps people, then you have a moral obligation to sell it to as many people as possible. Selling is serving. So don't buy into the lie that when you sell someone something, you're doing something bad to them, right? So that's move number 3. Move number 3 is to increase your closing percentage. What is move number 3?
Increase closing percentage.
All right. Increase your closing percentage. Okay, cool. All right. Now, if you use just a fraction of what I'm telling you, your closing percentage will more than double, right? But let's just say this closing percentage goes from 20% to 40%. That is going to take them to 30 new clients per month. And at 30 new clients per month times $3,000, no longer making $45,000 a month. Now we're making $90,000 a month. So in 3 simple moves, we've gone from $15,000 per month to $90,000 per month. Who here thinks that they can use these 3 moves that I've showed you so far to drastically increase the bottom line of your law firm? Does anyone think that? Are you guys starting to see that? Let me know.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Now I have good news for you because we have 2 more moves left, and these are really good too because you can go even further. And I'm going to show you how by the end of this, if you implement these moves, you're going to be at 10 times what your revenue is currently, right?